Well, we're on week 3, and as you can see, this freezer is getting slim pickings. I've got pumpkin seeds. Don't think that'll feed us. I do have some pork down there, some fish sticks, some sausage links, and some spaghetti sauce. So I am down to the end of week 3, and I tell you, it is slim pickings here at the homestead. So I did have to go to the store and get some more fruits and vegetables. I still have quite a bit of meat I can work with from when I stocked up at the beginning of the month. But what I'm going to work on today is I've got a roast that I've already cooked partially. And I'm going to put that back in the oven with some vegetables. And tonight we're going to have the roast with the vegetables. And then we're going to take the leftovers and make some alphabet soup out of it for tomorrow. And I want to be a better steward of what I have in my refrigerator. So I've been doing a lot of reading on food preservation and how to keep your food fresher longer. I want to take some of the things I have and make snacks. That's what we're really running low on, is things that we can just put together and eat quickly and not have to cook a big meal when we're hungry. So I'm devoting the afternoon to that, and I hope you guys will join me. This top shelf here is the little area I want to work on this afternoon. So I want to have healthy snacks up here that we can just grab and go. So I'm going to work on that today, and I'll show you my progress when I'm done. I love these little containers with lids. I think they're about a half a cup. And I've seen these at Meijer, and I got these at the Amish grocery store, but you can put just the right serving size of snacks in here, and that's what I'm going to work on. So our first healthy snack is, I have plenty of eggs, and so I made some hard-boiled eggs. I cut up some Colby cheese and some pecans. But I wanted to point something out. I was reading a food blog the other day, and one of the women that was commenting said, why do you need to wash your vegetables if the store's already washed them? And they've already been inspected and they've already been improved. Well, let me show you. This is the celery that I just got, and it came right out of the ground. It may have been splashed with a little water, but you know, the risk of contamination here is high. So you always want to wash your vegetables before you cook with them, and preferably before you even put them in the refrigerator. Healthy snack number 2 is sour cream with celery, carrots, and a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese on top. Next, I took my container of cottage cheese, and each of these has 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese and my leftover blueberries. Next, I used up the rest of my vanilla yogurt here. Vanilla yogurt, strawberries, blueberries, and a little bit of granola on top. All of my leftover fruit is in this bowl. So I have mandarins, strawberries, the rest of the blueberries, some pecans, some miniature marshmallows, and I'm going to dehydrate my orange peels and use those in potpourri. So here's our end result. We have about 5 different snack options in the back. Let's see if I can get that in there. We have our crackers, we have our yogurt, we have our vegetables, we have our fruit, and we have our healthy water, all on the top shelf here. It looks so much better. In the spirit of the Every Bit Counts challenge, we are going to regrow our celery here. I put it in the blossom, the bottom part here, in some warm water by a warm window, propped it up with some of my candlesticks, and we're going to let that rebloom, and then we'll eat that. We're not going to let it go to waste. And she's going to be very comfy over here with little Callie Lou, my Christmas cactus. So to my roast here, I've added an abundance of diced potatoes, carrots, onions, celery. Now, this has already been cooking about 3.5 hours at 350, but it has not reached the internal temperature that it needs to be. And you can tell just by looking at it, it's not quite done. So I'm going to add some salt and pepper, a little bit more of that. I had some leftover chicken broth I need to use up out of the refrigerator, and it will not even taste in my soup tomorrow. So I need to add a little more liquid to this roast because I don't want anything burning. So that chicken broth will give it just a little bit of flavor to mix with the base that I'm going to put in my soup tomorrow. So I think this will probably take another couple hours in the oven at 350. So I've cut up my leftover meat and I've put my leftover vegetables in here. I have some canned tomato juice I'm going to add. I pulled out some corn and some green beans from my freezer. I'm going to add all of those together and then we'll see where we're at. I've got this all mixed together now, and I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator. Tomorrow we'll heat it up, and I will add my alphabet noodles here that I got from the Amish store close to where I live, and we will be having wonderful soup tomorrow when we're supposed to be getting some ice. And here I'm making a soup of sorts. I took the potato skins that I'm using for my soup and my dinner tonight, and I'm cooking those with a little bit of spinach that I had left over that I need to use up. It wasn't enough for me. And the celery leaves and stems that I didn't want to use, I chopped those up very small for the girls. And now your potato skins, you do have to cook before you give them to your chickens. You need to make sure they're cooked properly because they have toxins that can be harmful to the chicken. So that's why I'm cooking those. The spinach, my girls won't eat raw. They'll only eat it cooked. I know, they're rotten. You don't have to cook your celery, but I thought, what the heck, since everything else is getting cooked, we'll just cook it all together. And they will have quite the gourmet meal here in about a half an hour. And one thing that I hope I taught you about your pantries, and this is regarding your freezers, is that you want to get big pieces of meat that you can turn into 2 or 3 different meals. And that's a great way to save money. And that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I had a wonderful new subscriber point out to me that, like me, when she took home economics, we really didn't learn the essentials that we need to use at home. For example, I learned how to set a table, how to make pecan sandies, how to iron. You know, we didn't learn the things you need to know, like how to balance a checkbook. My husband taught me that when I was 21 and had 2 children. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm doing cooking and other things around the homestead, things that I've learned that I can share with anyone here that is new and learning new skills. So let's come down. And today I am making a whole chicken. So I want to point out to those that have never baked a whole chicken, just like a turkey, you have to go on the inside here, stick your hand in, which I've already done, and pull out the gizzards. With a turkey, usually in the back here, there'll be a bag that you can pull out, but you want to go in both of those crevices and make sure you have everything out that's been put in there by the food packagers. Also, too, with any kind of poultry, you need to make sure you don't get blood on your counter, blood all over your hands. So I rinse mine out, inside and out, really good before I even put it in the oven. And then when I'm done, I'll wipe off my counter as well. So right now I have my whole chicken, and I'm going to put some salt on that and some pepper. The spices that you like, it's totally up to you. I'm trying to keep in mind if we have food left over from this, what I want to make with it. I'm going to add some thyme. and some garlic powder. I always keep chicken broth on hand. I have it in the freezer, and then I also get these containers at my grocery store, which is Meijer, and they're only like $1.59, I think. I always keep chicken broth and beef broth on hand. So I'm just putting this all around. I have a bowl here that I have cut up of root vegetables. So I have I have potatoes, carrots, onions, celery, and I'm going to put those root vegetables all the way around here. Here we go. I've also cut up some radishes, and those I'm going to kind of keep to themselves over this way, because what we don't have with dinner tonight, I am going to mash up. Do you know you can mash those up and they taste just like mashed potatoes? Okay, so I have everything in there. I think I'll give it another shot of salt and pepper. I've got my oven preheating to 350 because I want to slow cook this. I think I'll add a little more garlic powder. If you have chicken bouillon, you can put that in there too. That tastes wonderful. So now I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to put it in my 350-degree oven, and it'll probably take about 4 hours cooking on low. So for tonight's dinner, we're going to use up our remaining chicken, or most of our chicken, and our vegetables. And I'll still have some chicken left, and I'm going to mix that with my remaining vegetables, put it in the freezer, and we'll save that for soup that we'll probably have next week. So first, I'm going to take my chicken here. I've got my oven preheating to 350. I'm going to add my remaining vegetables. Get those mixed up good. And I also went out in the freezer and I grabbed me a package of frozen green beans and a package of corn. I'm going to add a little bit of that. Just get everything mixed up well. So we have carrots and potatoes and onions from our last meal, green beans and corn from this meal. Going to add some salt and pepper. This is a real easy meal to make to use up these leftovers. Now in this bowl, I'm going to take a can of cream of chicken soup, cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of celery. You need to keep those on your shelf all the time. And we're going to mix that with a half a can of milk. And just mix it together. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to add it to our vegetables here in a minute. Okay, so let's pour that over these. Get everything coated well. I've told you guys several times before, I don't make my own pie crust. I can't do it. I've never learned how. I always ruin everything when I try. So I buy the generic pie shells. Now, this one I've already had in the oven. I pricked it all the way around and put it in the oven for about 5 minutes. I'm going to add my filling. I'm going to have some left over, and that's all right. We will save that for soup in the freezer. Then I'm going to take my top and unroll it, and you really never know how these are going to do till you get to going. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to go around, tuck it in. We cook the bottom pie shell because we don't want it getting soggy. We want it staying nice and firm. I'm just going around pinching the two crusts together. My crust I always get are generic, and they're usually from Schnucks or Meyer. The generic are usually less than $2. Pillsbury are about $4. And the generic taste fine, so don't let that scare you. Once you have everything all tucked in, you can go back and make it look pretty. Let's do that with our fork. I'm just pinching, crimping all the way around. And if you have these ingredients like we did from last night's dinner, look how fast we put this together. There we go. Now I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to put in some vent holes on the top. There we go. I'm going to get some butter real quick. Just going to rub that on the top. Get a pretty golden look to my pie here. There we go. And I do have a protector here that goes around the outside. You're just going to put a pie protector around the outside to keep it from burning. If you don't have one, you can use tin foil. Now I'm going to put this in my 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Today I wanted to make something to have for breakfast tomorrow morning. So I can just scramble some eggs. We can have some of these muffins. This is an experiment, so we'll see if this turns out. I've got an excellent German apple cake recipe, but I want to make it a little healthier and I want to make it into muffins so we won't overeat. So we're going to give this a try and I hope it works out. I'm making sure to add some of my black walnuts that I harvested from my tree, and let's go. We'll see how it tastes. So to get started, we're going to add 1.5 cups of flour. And it can be any kind of flour you like. If you want to use whole wheat, that's fine. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. A half a teaspoon of baking soda. A quarter a teaspoon of salt. 3/4 cup of sugar. You can use stevia if that's what you prefer. And mix this up a little. I have just a little bit of flaxseed left. I want to add that. Not all of it, but some. That'll give us some crunch too. Whoops. Here come the black walnuts that I've chopped. I didn't really measure. I just took a couple of handfuls and started chopping. So this will be full of fiber. And not only am I going to add apples, I've got 1 apple here that I chopped up, diced up. I'm going to put some blueberries in there too. There goes my voice. And I'm just going to toss these until everything is well covered. Yeah, this is going to be delicious. Tons of fiber, healthy flaxseed. Let's add a little more of that, by the way. There you go. Okay. And now we're going to go on to step 2. So now we are going to put our wet ingredients together. We're going to have 2 eggs. I got these off the girls today. It is about 1 degree outside. I'm amazed that they're even laying. But they are. They're still kicking it out. And I'm going to add some vanilla. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Half a cup of vegetable oil, and you can use any kind of oil you like. And then a half a cup of yogurt. And I am using just the Meyer brand, store brand, plain vanilla light yogurt. So I'm going to put a half a cup of that in. I've got my oven preheating to 350, and I greased my muffin pan. So now we're going to whisk all of the wet ingredients together and get them blended. And we'll go to step 3. So now we're going to add our wet ingredients into our dry a little at a time. We don't want to overbeat this. We just want to fold it in. Usually if you put it in a well in the center, it'll spread out and that'll get everything mixed in there nicely. How's the weather your way, friends? It is freezing. Today the sun's out. It's a beautiful day if you look out the window, but we have wind and it is cold. The girls are staying in their coop. Today they come out in the run just to get a snack, but they run right back in their coop. Here is the last. And we're going to mix it in. When I get this mixed in well, we are going to start putting these in our muffin tin. So I started off with putting a tablespoon in each muffin tin here. And I'm just going to go back and top them off and use up the rest of my batter. I have no idea how high these are going to rise. How high is the water, Mama? It's 10 feet high and rising. We will find out, won't we? Probably would be a good idea if I put a tray under them. I think that's a good idea. I don't feel like cleaning my oven out. Now, you guys know I'm a hillbilly when it comes to cooking. So I'm going to take my finger and just swirl them all in and fill in the cups. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and I have melted 2 tablespoons of butter. I don't know if I'm going to need it all. If you want to make it extra healthy, leave this out. No added sugar. Or use stevia or sweet and low, whatever sweetener you prefer. I think that's going to be enough butter. So that was probably a tablespoon. I'm going to sprinkle that on top of these. Like I said, I have the oven preheating at 350. And these are going to bake about 30 minutes. I'm going to, check them after like 25 and see if a knife will come out clean when I stick it in the middle. Look how delicious these muffins turned out. I can't wait to have one. It's hard to spread my butter and hold the camera at the same time, but they are crunchy on the outside. They have all the good fruit on the inside, and they taste delicious. I hope you guys will give them a try. So thanks for joining me this week on week 3. I really appreciate it. And what I hope you learned is that when you clean out your refrigerator at the end of every week or month, go through what you have there and see if you can put together some little snack containers, to finish those last few things up. See if there's anything you can throw in a dish or dehydrate to keep your produce and everything from going bad and without having to throw it out. Use up every little bit you have, and every little bit counts. Oh, they're coming up to the kitchen window. They can smell me cooking. They want to make sure I'm not making any chicken nuggets. Hi, girls. Don't worry, Cordell, you're safe.